right. In the bottom right, we have Gypsy in the color red.
Alrighty, and in bottom left we have Mihu in blue. So now we don't have we we don't have cross positions like we did. So again, gonna be highly likely that we see a lot of Vulture play early on. I would say again. Do you think that? Who do you think that favors at this point? It seems to be like very even. These engagements don't seem to be snowballing at all. Like you have like one person lose a Vulture and they just back off. Very conservative usage, I guess, of the Vultures in the early game. Do you think this favors anyone in particular? Or do you think that we're just going to see like a pretty big stalemate move on to that mid game?
Well, if it goes anything based on the earlier game, it's just defender's advantage is just too big. So if you're doing similar builds, there's no reason for you to attack. They kind of test the waters, and then the attacker goes into a disadvantage, and then the defender counterattacks, but doesn't really have enough to do any critical damage. And I mean, adjacent spawns, the key on this map is that the normal third is a mineral only, so it's not a great base to take. So we're probably going to see a heavier focus on two-base play. Like last game, Gypsy took a third pretty fast. Don't think that's going to be that likely on this map with the mineral only.
The third base is pretty nice, though. I mean, like as far as like architecture goes, it's very easy to wall off there at the smaller ramp and then defend at one central point. Do you think that you're gonna, in these positions though, because you can expand to a gas base away from your opponent, is that gonna potentially be an option for Mihu there?
Yeah, so Mihu's normal fourth base, it's kind of awkward. It's on between them, so he's probably going to take the 9 o'clock. Both players going for gas, probably going to be expand. I think the key is that when you take a third as a mineral only, it doesn't really make your army stronger, because you kind of need the gas to do something other than make tanks. You need that gas to get your upgrades and potentially go into Wraith or dropship. If you take a mineral only, all that does is gives you access to more Vultures, which really don't scale super well. And it's not really like a priority base to take, so we'll see. But we have gas warp is being pulled off, so everything's standard so far.
Alrighty, so we're gonna have like a normal handshake opening, nothing crazy going on so far. It was a good point about how you were saying like you test the waters really early, just to like check that they're also making Vultures and that you can't get like a run by in really quick because they're doing something greedy.
Yeah, maybe if you go straight into tank, then the early Vultures can get something done. Maybe delay the CC for a second or two, but nothing crazy. But just test the waters to see what your opponent's doing. If you see the same number that you have, then okay, mirror builds. And well, command center from both. Everything looking basically like the first game.
Well, if it keeps going like this, and we just get another first game again, I think Gypsy will be pretty happy, man. Is Mihu an accomplished tournament player within the Chinese community, or is this like kind of like a? You think this is throwing him off at all? His first foray into the foreign scene?
Well, it's got to be different, right? You're playing players you never played against, and time zone, like it's really late in China, but I think he is like the best Chinese player. Like he wins in their tournaments, like the Chinese only tournaments, he does really well in them. So he has tournament experience, but again, it's still different. Like you're dealing with players you've never seen before, right? So here we go. Gypsy's gonna try to put on some pressure, but Mihu didn't go add-ons, right? So they have the same number of units. Gypsy sees retreat right away. Smart play. Don't really want to commit. And now what's normal is 2 Vulture add-on, but both players actually went 3 Vultures right away. So Gypsy is probably going to get caught off guard here, because normally you have a window there. But looks like he's trying to retreat, and this is the problem with Vulture versus Vulture. You can't really run away, although he does manage, like he sacrificed the Marine there and he's able to go away. And this is looking like what Terra did against Gypsy, where he never made an add-on and went straight into Dragoons. And Gypsy behind is going up to 3 factories. The key here is to get that tank, right? The tank right away, so you defend from the push. And Gypsy, of course, is going to see everything, right? He sees the armor, he's going to see the 2 factories, he knows what's up.
Yeah, that is a pretty funny point there. Like, because of how like the patrol firing works is so fast, the vultures don't even need to decelerate, so you can just chase down an entire army if you get out positioned here. So Gypsy gonna be defending here. It looks like he's gonna have plenty of units though, as his additional vulture comes out here to match the 5 from Mihu. And once again, as you said, just kind of like some handshake poking going on right now. But so getting that tank really just the key to the defense.
Oh man, supply block from Gypsy. Okay, looks like he manages to on supply block right now.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. I was gonna say, normally, like, if it's vulture versus vulture war, missing a supply depot is game over. Like, that's how knife's edge the engagements between vultures are, because they build so fast, right? They reinforce right away. If you miss one depot, the game's over. But Mihu's following us up with Goliaths, and he's gonna be able to kill that barracks. Was actually pretty annoying. Gypsy's still only making vultures. I wonder if he's gonna go mines. Okay, looks like he does have 1 tank. Like I said, you need this tank to deal with the Goliaths. And I mean, this is looking similar to what Terror did against Gypsy. And here we go. Here comes the attack.
Okay. Oh no, and all of Gypsy's units getting sandwiched between the Goliaths here and then the vultures from the backside. This could be pretty bad, although we do have a significant initial vulture advantage, at least for Gypsy there. So the vultures actually make it out pretty good. And we do have the tank and everything here as well. So I think this should be a totally fine defense as long as these vultures come in at the right time and aren't too behind here.
Yeah, just gotta bring the vultures back though. The vultures he had earlier to kill off these vultures from Mihu. Mihu microing. He was able to kill off 1 tank, but I think the attack has been effectively dealt with. And the key there was Gypsy's vultures actually have speed. Mihu's didn't. So when Gypsy engaged vulture versus vulture, he couldn't run away really.
Oh man, Gypsy just a second off of eliminating these last 2 Goliaths. That would have been a really nice victory. Of course, repairing isn't free, so these Goliaths are still going to cost a good amount of money to get back up and running once they get back to the repairing SCVs. But would have been pretty nice to get those 2, like that last volley off to kill those 2 guys.
Yeah, and a lot of Goliaths. No add-ons for Mihu. And I mean, this, well, he's gonna go for something because you don't just make Goliaths. Looks like he's going for Wraith, and I don't think Gypsy has an army, so it might be a misstep, because even against Terry, we saw Gypsy seeing Goliath and eventually going army himself, because the most common follow-up to this is actually Wraith or drop. Looks like he's repairing those low HP Goliaths, so nice play. This is something you always see in high-level players. They really get the maximum value out of their units.
Yeah, it's so good. I mean, it just frees up the factory, you know, like instead of replacing one, you're now getting another unit. So it turns your SCV into like a de facto factory, essentially, just by repairing, as instead of letting those units just die to like a single vulture shot here. We do have Mihu now moving forward, clearing out these mines, of course, with that very quick, actual hit scan from the Goliaths. Yeah, getting easily deflected due to the tank.
So this is something I don't know. I don't actually know how much does it cost to repair a tank from, say, 1 HP to full. I know it's less than 1 tank, but I don't actually know how much it is.
Yeah, the cost effectiveness, you mean?
Yeah, and here comes the Wraith, and this Wraith, oh man, this is so risky for both sides. So we have Gypsy moving forward with his vultures. He's gonna try to get economic damage here, but he could actually die to the counter push. He doesn't have any anti-air, and there's a lot of units. Looks like Mihu is actually gonna go for the full retreat, but this looks exactly like the game against Terror on Ascension.
Oh man, I really hate these decisions to just go full on retreat, because I do feel like, you know, if you're not using your positional advantage that you have across the map with your army, then you're just giving up this damage completely for free. The race tickling some tanks at the natural expansion, but man, a ton of economic damage already being done here by Gypsy's vultures, and just a couple of SCVs maybe going down here, but you can keep these tanks alive for a super long time just with repair. Looks like we have Goliath already on the way to save these tanks, so literally nothing getting done here for Mihu. Gypsy getting huge economic damage done, huge tank count now. Gypsy's got to feel so good.
Yeah, the tank advantage in Gypsy's favor. He has the economic advantage too. Mihu does have more supply, but this is mostly filler. He is taking, like, what's going on at 6 o'clock? Is that another Wraith? Yeah, just more Wraiths, and I think that was Gypsy trying to take that third base, but that's actually pretty risky. I would expect him to take 3 o'clock instead. We have the tank lines being set up, and I mean the game should stabilize a little bit here. But that was a huge play by Gypsy. It looks like a mine went off on the Goliath and actually killed a bunch of vultures. What happened there?
Oh my gosh, that Goliath making out with like 1 HP. Dude, look at that guy. Okay, a little bit of skirmishing happening here. Nothing super significant. Gypsy taking out some units here. Some more mines. Hopefully no detonations this time.
Okay, I want to mention that despite Gypsy's advantage here economically, he doesn't have a third base. And what he did in the other games where he got an economic advantage is he just took a third right away, and that really built up over the game. But instead, 2 base versus 2 base, even if you had a lower SCV count, it's not a huge deal. And we have Mihu taking a third at 9 o'clock. Gypsy still, I haven't seen any attempt for him to take a third himself. There it is, the command center finally floating over.
There we go. Yeah, it doesn't look like any kind of 2 base planning in the works here. I really loved his use of dropships in the last game here. I'm very curious if he's going to decide to add on any starports anytime soon. Gypsy's tank line advancing, although a big wraparound attack coming from Mihu towards the upper portion of the map here. Is there very much defense here for Mihu, or is Gypsy going to arrive at the natural expansion while the initial third is getting up here? I would think that taking out a natural is going to be a little bit better than taking out a developing third base.
Well, this third base is not critical, but the problem is Gypsy actually, I don't think he has anything behind this. Like, his army is way out of position here. He only has 2 tanks on this high ground. Looks like the third is going to be denied. A lot of SCVs going down, and that's actually a huge play. I thought it was a massive risk by Mihu to actually just go all the way around, and I mean, it's not going to bite him back, but
yeah, I mean, he does force the lift off, and then the fourth is going to be canceled here. Looks like Gypsy is just going to be able to... Oh, nope, guess not. Not quite in time to stop that CC. But now his tanks are kind of... Well, they were in no man's land. Looks like we have pulled them back for the most part now. But we are moving out once again on the map here. Looks like Gypsy feeling confident with his ability to defend at home. Only 2 tanks on the high ground right now, and a very large contingent of tanks for Gypsy moving across the map here. Looks like we do have some vultures reinforcing that, but that is not a huge army here. Only 4 tanks being left at home, though, and a large army still on the map that Mihu could potentially take advantage of. And Mihu having those drops also adds a pretty significant amount of versatility to his army, being able to drop on top of the siege tanks like that.
Yeah, Mihu also has 2 armies working on upgrades. These Wraiths actually did a good job at denying this base. Gypsy is going to float from the mineral only all the way to 6 o'clock, which is probably the better play, to be honest, because the Wraiths, I mean, the gas on this base is way more impactful. And we actually see Gypsy a little bit indecisive with his ground army. I really thought he had an opportunity to get something done while Mihu's units were way out of position. It looks like we have a small drop going off. Only 3 tanks, 1 Goliath. But I mean, look at how awkward this is for Gypsy. Gypsy's gonna have to go full retreat. The units actually never retreated; they just stayed here, and this is gonna be an elevator.
Yeah, and this is a pretty difficult. We have a lot of buildings gonna be blocking off this area as well, so going to be able to pick off tons of supply depots. Looks like we're hitting the academy and the engineering bay as well. And this is a lot of units for this elevator, so a lot of tanks could go down pretty inefficiently here. But we don't see any target firing right now.
Yeah, and I think these units actually have +2. I'm not sure, but Mihu's tanks might have +2. Look at a drop going into the net. Gypsy right on top of that kills 1 dropship right away. Looks like the turret might kill the other dropship, and it's not going to be able to accomplish much. Looks like no, the tanks only have +1. Fortunately for Gypsy, he was able to deal with that quite effectively, I think. But those units, like, they were utilized to their to great effect, because I thought they would retreat, but Mihu found a window to get that elevator off, and that was very nicely done.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised at how well Gypsy was able to get those tanks in play and make such a kind of a miraculous defense. I thought a lot more was going to happen there. There was a pretty big number of units. Oh my gosh, huge contingent of units coming out from the south now. The bulk of Gypsy's main army coming up here to clean up this tiny amount of units holding down this high ground in the center. And Gypsy now really securing a nice forward position on the map here. If he's able to cut these units off from getting to the third, he can run around to that third base and potentially do some damage with vultures.
Gypsy's got to be careful though. He is taking some nice engagements here, but +2 is about to be done for Mihu, and Gypsy always has to be worried about a counter drop at 6 o'clock. The mobility advantage is in Mihu's favor, and no, it looks like actually no buildings went down here, hilariously enough. Looks like we have +2 for Mihu. There's the drop I'm talking about. Like, Gypsy always has to be concerned of this kind of play when he has his units all the way out in the middle of the map.
Yeah, I love this. We just have a couple of vultures coming in here providing high ground vision, so now these tanks are gonna be able to shoot up the ramp, kill off these turrets. Gypsy's gonna have to continually replace those to make sure that he doesn't get dropped again. Oh my god, mines. Huge mines! 2 tanks being caught or taken out. God, these 3 low ground tanks are just murdering all of Gypsy's defenses. A huge contingent of units move forward, but they are so cost effective shooting up this hill. What is going on? Finally getting taken out here.
Yeah, what an excellent tanks attack. Those mines just killed so many units, and well, I mean, it's 3 base versus 3 base, but I think the engagements have gone in the favor of Mihu just with the mobility, and now he's going to drop after killing some turrets. The tanks are on the low ground, but just slightly out of position. There's nothing to defend this middle line. This is going to be a lot of damage. Looks like Gypsy, 1 tank getting in range of the others, but again, this is +2 tanks. There will be 2-shotting Gypsy's tanks. Gypsy's got to be very careful. Looks like Gypsy's got his own +2, but look, all the SCVs have been dealt with, and there's still 4 tanks behind this mineral line.
Oh no, and the SCV is joining the fight a little too late. Although it looks like Gypsy is going to clear this up, he is going to lose all the mining that was going on at that base, but perhaps not forced to lift off at the very least, which is kind of a small miracle considering how the initial volleys went here. Looks like we have some more movement of troops though over to this base via the ground, and now that the SCVs have once again repopulated that base, Mihu trying to take a position here to split Gypsy's army off from being able to continue to reinforce that.
And Gypsy retreating from the middle of the map, realizes he's not going to gain any ground there, and the mobility from the other Terran player is actually too strong, so he's got to reposition, otherwise he's going to get cut off from his own base. Doesn't really have a lot there. It's like these 2 high ground tanks are actually super obnoxious to deal with.
Yeah, Gypsy getting really pulled around all over the map here, constantly having to reposition his army and then getting out positioned once again. These 3 dropships, really just quite a nightmare. Although, wow, those two tanks just got just blown the heck up. So
yeah, from tanks on tanks a little bit to the top of those actually siege. And now Miho's actually taking this mirror only. There's no way this is gonna go up, but he is also taking top left, which is a much better play. He's got to be careful not to overextend his units, and you never want tanks on the low ground. Looks like he has 4 dropships, but again, the tanks from Gypsy aren't siege, so no way to drop on. These are a much better target, and these will be probably cleaned up pretty easily.
Alrighty. Well, a very quick cleanup here.
Oh, and Gypsy's actually gonna go for the net while there's nothing here.
Oh my gosh, this is the move. Gypsy with the killer instinct. Here comes a huge number of tanks.
He's gotta be careful though. I mean, this is right where the reinforcements are. Looks like he's able to get a good position, but advancing any further is gonna be a little bit hard. Mihu, I mean, in the meantime, he's taking the map. Oh, Wraith! Smart Wraith switch from Gypsy.
Oh no!
And he's getting, like, this is huge value. This will nullify and neutralize the dropships altogether. He's gonna force Mihu into making Goliaths, which he doesn't really want. He actually moved a little bit too far forward. Gets almost all his tanks obliterated. But the key here is he's cutting off the defense from the third. So all he has to do is reinforce this location, and then he probably has an opportunity to attack. Or no, Gypsy's just gonna go right for the kill, gonna go right for the throw, gonna go for the natural, but he's moving way too far forward.
Oh, the Wraith Tickle Squad though, getting a lot done. The thing is it's really hard for Mihu to get any units on that low ground, so everything's gonna be up on this high ground, and the tanks are really just able to shell away at that. Look at that. Those Wraiths come in, just obliterate that dropship, and wow, Gypsy just killing Mihu. There's nothing he can do at this point.
Yeah, non-stop reinforcement from Gypsy. Mihu has these useless dropships now, but you can see he doesn't have, like, this is so difficult to defend, but he also has to be like on top of his dropships to take units from his third, but just too much to do. Gypsy relentless with the pressure, not letting Terran take a moment to set up, and that's GG.
Oh my god, he's done it. The 2-0.